to be funny, like it wants to be funny. Um, there's like when they like are holding her up, burning her. One dude is like, like it's I don't know. It's not funny. It shouldn't be. I did laugh the second time out loud in the theater to the disgust of some of the people in the theater, but I can't help it because it just is. It's a little silly, but Nicolas Cage's performance at this point in the film um, is really good. I would say Nicolas Cage is good at a few things as an actor, but what he excels at is raw, that raw like emotion, like the overwhelming emotion. I guess is what he really expresses that here as he watches his wife get burned to death by these fucking cultists, and so she burns to death. Um, it cuts to the scene of the cultist drop. Well, damn, I skipped a fucking scene. I'm being a fucking idiot. Before they burn his wife to death, Jeremiah and them walk up, and he's like, "You think you know what love is?" And he gets one of the girls in his cult to put a gun to her head, and he Russian roulettes with her, and she doesn't blow her head off, but he basically like there's this scene there, and they show this another demon artifact, the blade, like the dagger of the Pale Knight from the abyssal layer itself, and it's a fucking crazy demon dagger. And they do the same thing they did with the Horn of Abraxas, the thing the guy used to summon the demon bikers. They like cover it in like this strobe light, and when they show it, and they make a point to have a scene where they're showing this artifact. That's the only like the guy's holding it. It's like crazy. They stab Nicolas Cage with this dagger. And then it is never spoken of again throughout the entire film. It's never seen again. Nicolas Cage's wound, by the way, not even brushed over. And he gets stabbed like a good 4 or 5 inches into his fucking side, like right about right there. And anyways, the next like in the morning when Nick Cage finally can like get himself to wake up, I guess. Because I sure as fuck wouldn't be passed out through any of that shit. Although he has been stabbed in the side. His wrists are bloody enough that he can like slip them out of the barbed wire. And he gets out and he crawls up to where Mandy is. And she's there's not even a corpse. There's just her skull burned off. And this scene is by far, I believe, the second best scene in the movie in terms of emotional connection, I almost said endearment. There's no endearment here. This is just pure emotion, raw sorrow, hatred, the pain. It's deep. There's a power in this scene. It's very well directed. I even want to harken some of the scene work and in some scenes before as well into this scene. Like, if you've ever seen Legend with Tom Cruise, little known fact, Tom Cruise was in a pretty good movie a long time ago. It's a fantasy movie. If you ever see that movie or have seen that movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. That kind of like aesthetic fantasy-esque. It's just fucking... It's nice. It's good. Anyways, Nicolas Cage goes inside his house, and he's like, there's this weird fucking scene. It's like it's no shit, like 3-4 minutes long, where there's a commercial on the television, and it's this thing called the Cheddar Goblin. And it's just fucking weird. And it's like this goblin that like is vomiting macaroni and cheese on kids, and then it like comes out of mac and cheese like it's disturbing a little bit. Like that scene is, and I wanted to akin Nicolas Cage seeing this commercial as fucked up and weird to the dagger having some effect on him. I'm not sure if that was in the mind of the film creator at the time, but maybe. Anyways, we pass this scene. Nick Cage goes and lays on his bed, and then we're cut to a cartoon-esque scene. I keep saying esque. What the fuck am I? Some fucking prude? Cartoon-esque? No. It's a cartoon. It is a drawn, animated scene, a dream scene where Mandy turns around and she's undead. Her jaw breaks and he starts awake, and then this leads into what I believe is the best scene in the movie, where Nicolas Cage goes into his bathroom, and he is fucked up looking. You know, he's been tied up with barbed wire and shit, and he gets some vodka, and he's just slugging it, and getting all the emotions in him roiling and raging, and he goes through these stages of grief so intense. It's a one-shot scene. There's no cutaways, and it's beautiful and sad. It can make you feel if you really are into the movie by this point. Which the first time I watched it, I almost felt like I felt it. I think the second time I felt it even a little more. But I could feel that Nicolas Cage had the character Red like tapping into that like madness, almost like that fury in a person who's lost essentially what you would say is everything to him in a horrific way. And so Red in the next scene goes down to a trailer. Apparently he had let this older black gentleman borrow a crossbow. I guess I don't know why, but it's called the Reaper, and we get a little bit of backstory to who these biker guys are, and we see a pretty intense scene of Nicolas Cage sitting down. This is the first person he's spoken to after his wife has literally been burned to death, and the guy's just like, just sit down, and Nick Cage is like, they fucking burned her, and he's like, who, Nick Cage kind of reveals that he was like, they're Jesus freaks. That's like the scene from the grocery store. He's like, they're crazy evil is like what he tells the guy he's hunting. And the guy gives him a little bit of backstory of like who the muscle was, like these demons were. And he says the Black Skulls, apparently they were a cartel for this dude who dealt a lot of acid, and the dude didn't like him, so he gave him a bad batch of acid, and when they took it, they were never the same since. And so this is the explanation for why these demon bikers are like so fucking insane and so like fucked up, I guess. But I'll get into that in a minute. So that's like supposed to be why like the demons exist or whatever, because of this bad acid turned them into fucking demons. And they look, and they're like, and they are kind of like the Hellraiser-esque type demons, Cenobites. If you know anything about them, they're these demonic angels from Clive Barker's lore that indulge in like intense, incredible, crazy pain to like get euphoria or some shit. And it's similar to this. The guy was like, these things were fucked up. They were like in tons of pain, but like they were loving it. So we cut to the next scene. Nick Cage is somehow tracked down where these bikers are going to be on the road. I don't know how. He's got a crossbow set. And he bolts one of the guys. And then he gets in his car and drives up. And the dude's like getting on his knees, like shooting at Nick Cage's car. And Nick just fucking plows him. But Nick flips his fucking car. Fades to black. Next scene, Nick has been abducted by these demon bikers. And his hand is nailed like to a board, and his other hand is like all chained up like this with handcuffs, and the demon dude walks up and like cuts him, and Nick has this line, he's like, that was my favorite shirt. It's kind of weird. I don't know why that sticks with me, but the demon comes up again after like cutting him one time, and Nick Cage is like kind of like crying or something. Anyways, he loosens the bolt or loosens the pipe on the wall, and he fucking bashes this demon thing, and the demon falls down the rafters of this hole or whatever. Nick Cage gets up, stalks around the room, like the place, sees that these dudes have murdered like some people in this place, and stumbles upon another one of these demon bikers who like doing copious amounts of cocaine. I mean, like his face is like just in it. He's just like, and there's porn on the TV, and fucking Nick Cage previously, after he like supposedly killed the first demon dude, picks up a fucking rusty razor box cutter, and so Nick then has this brief confrontation with this demon doing cocaine, slits its fucking throat, gets a mouthful of blood. It's totally insane. He gets up. The demon from before has a shotgun, trying to get him. Nick fucking fights the dude and then breaks his fucking neck. Red breaks the demon's neck, and arguably probably like, I thought it was one of the cooler like kill scenes, I guess, just because Nick Cage is like, like so crazy looking. It's pretty awesome. Anyways, moving forward, we see where the final demon is. Because there's 4 of them. Nick's killed 3 of them, and he's standing in front of this fire, and Nick fucking shoots this dude with a crossbow bolt in the fucking throat. Like, from behind. This is when this is the divide here. Because there's a lot about this movie that wants to make you think all of this is realistic, or all of this is real, and some of it might just be in Nick Cage's head or whatever. But, before I even talk about this is a terrible review. This is a terrible synopsis, by the way. You people are probably like, fuck this guy. Nick kills all those kills those 3 demons, or he kills those 2 demons in that apartment. He then does a bunch of cocaine. He takes up the mirror and he does a bunch of cocaine, and he finds that jar of bad acid, the Eldritch LSD is what I'm gonna call it. The Lovecraft LSD that turns you into a fucking demon. And he does a little bit of it. And this is when the film kind of takes a turn. That's what people would say. It takes a turn, but it really kind of just follows the same revenge path, but it's just a little fucking more crazy. And now we're following a character that is like descending down the same path as these demonic people. He's now descended into madness at this point, or he's allowing himself to go into this madness. And now we go to the scene with the final demon, and the demon's in front of this burning car. And the scene work here is interesting because I think it's chosen as well to indicate that we are seeing the world through Nicolas Cage's eyes, in a sense. A lot of